I was just trying to fix a busted plasma relay, minding my own business, when the 8-foot-tall alien warrior with glowing armor walked into the engine bay like she owned gravity. I didn't expect her to speak, let alone ask what I wanted. I blinked, leaned on my tool, and said, "You," with the kind of dry sarcasm that's kept me single and alive this long. She didn't laugh. She didn't even blink. She reached for her helmet and took it off with this slow, deliberate grace like I'd triggered something sacred. Her silver hair spilled down her shoulders like some shampoo ad from space hell. I laughed nervously. "Hey, I was just kidding," I muttered, stepping back, but she was already undoing the clasps on her armored chest plate. I started sweating. This had to be some weird alien prank. Her people were warriors, formal, emotionless. No way one would just strip. But she did. One piece at a time, down to nothing but her own glowing tattoos and a calm face that said this was Tuesday. "You have claimed me. It is done." Her voice didn't match the situation. It was cold, official, like she was reading a weather report. I stammered. "Claimed? No, see, I joke. It's a human thing. Like sarcasm? Haha." She tilted her head. Your tone lacked humor. Your words were clear. She stepped closer. I caught a whiff of something sharp and earthy. It smelled like war and lavender. My comm badge chirped at the worst possible time. "Technician Miles, confirm. Did you just initiate a sacred mating claim with Princess Knight Veljuna of the Obsidian Crown?" I slapped the badge like it owed me money. "It was a joke." A pause. "Oh dear," the voice said. "You're engaged now. Congratulations, Your Majesty." Click. Veljuna stood inches from me, stark naked, her gaze fixed on mine like I'd just handed her a contract. "My armor may only be removed once for a mate. You have my body, my honor, my lineage." I looked down at her. Well, not directly. I tried very hard not to. I may have failed. "Listen, I think there's been a really intense misunderstanding here. I didn't mean you. I meant, like cookies or something. Or coffee. Or a vacation. You chose me," she said, touching my chest with one firm finger. I nearly passed out. "You shall not be undone." I gulped. "Undone? Is that a threat? A promise? A marital status?" Her lips twitched slightly. It may have been a smile or just a spasm. Either way, her other hand went to her hip and stayed there, where a sword should have been, if she hadn't already undressed like a goddamn space stripper with purpose. "I don't even know your favorite color," I said, my voice breaking mid-sentence. "You know nothing of mine either." "Exactly," I said. "So maybe we just cool off, re-armor up, and pretend this was, a culturally enriching misunderstanding." She raised a brow. "We have already passed the point of declaration. You must now accept or reject. Publicly." My brain, already overheating, skipped several thoughts. "What happens if I reject?" She tilted her head. "You will be shunned, possibly challenged, maybe executed. Depends on how dramatic the elders are feeling this cycle." I stared. "Executed? For a joke?" She nodded. "In our defense, your wording was very convincing. I said you as a joke. It is a powerful word where I come from." I groaned. Okay. So what happens if I accept?" She didn't miss a beat. "You become royal consort. Receive a private chamber. Access to elite rations. Daily ritual massages. And frequent mating for lineage assurance." Wait. Hold on. Back up. "Massages? You heard the rest?" "Oh yeah? That too." I sat down on the nearest crate and stared at my boots. She remained standing, naked, unmoved, clearly expecting something. "You're seriously into this?" "I mean, I'm flattered, sure, but I thought aliens didn't do feelings." "This is not about feeling. It is about function, honor, compatibility. And your hips are wide enough for future strain resistance." I choked. "My what now?" "You have an ideal base. Compact but firm. Good reproductive symmetry. Above average pheromone emission. Are you describing me or a well-cooked roast?" She blinked slowly. "If it helps your decision, I have seen your recordings." I looked up sharply. "What recordings?" "The human educational videos. You performed well." "That wasn't educational. That was my browser history." "Yes. Educational. For me. I buried my face in my hands. Okay. Fine. I'm your mate now? Consort. Sure. Consort. Would you like me to remove my last garment? You're still wearing something? She turned, reached back, and a small crystal band fell from around her thigh. I covered my eyes too late. Gods above. You people really go all in. She moved closer, took my hand, and placed it on her hip. You are warm, she said. I look forward to the bonding ceremony. There's a ceremony? Of course there's a ceremony. We shall begin with a feast. Then a formal inspection. Then the night rites. Please tell me that's not what I think it is. It involves oils. I need a drink. She cocked her head. Do you require hydration before mating? No, I require a vacation before my pelvis turns to powder. Your pelvis will adapt. You say that like it's been tested. It has. I groaned again. Okay, fine. Let's do the feast. Maybe eat first. Then see if I survive the inspection. You will do more than survive, she said with a faint glint in her eye. You will be remembered. I stared at the ceiling. That's what I'm afraid of. The moment I opened my eyes the next morning, I was already being fitted for royal attire by 3 women with sharp teeth and no personal boundaries. One kept lifting the robe and muttering, "Not bad for a human." I wasn't sure if she meant my shoulders or something further down, and I wasn't about to ask. Veljuna sat nearby, arms crossed over her still bare chest, observing like I was a tactical operation. You are presentable, she said. Your manhood hangs with confidence. I muttered, thanks I guess, and tried to pull the hem lower. One of the attendants smirked. His reaction time is slow, but he has good girth. Potential. Veljuna nodded. He'll grow into the role. I coughed. Can we please talk about anything that isn't my ambassadorial scepter? They didn't laugh. Of course they didn't. I was paraded through the royal wing, where aliens twice my size bowed or nodded or tried to sniff me discreetly. Someone whispered, That's him? The earthling who took the princess? Another muttered, Looks soft. Veljuna glared, and they fell silent. I leaned toward her. Are they always like this? They expected me to choose a spawn lord from the Tarsk line. I chose differently. Yeah, no pressure. We reached a long hall where a group of elders sat waiting. One stood. Royal consort, he said, his voice gravel and heat. Do you confirm the claim under Rule 45C, subclause M for mutual insertion? My eyebrows shot up. Sorry, what? Veljuna spoke calmly. He does, I whispered. Do I? She nodded once. You said you. That is mutual enough. The elder raised a crystal staff. Then the mating schedule shall proceed. 3 nights of bonding. 1 day of recovery. Then the lineage test. I laughed nervously. Wait, there's a schedule? Yes, Veljuna replied. Do you wish to negotiate time slots? What if I die in slot 1? Then your seed will be extracted and cryopreserved. I didn't know whether to cry or faint. After the meeting, I tried to explain human dating. We usually go for coffee first. Or food. Talk about hobbies. Ease into the whole mating thing. She looked confused. We shared a meal. And we have already confirmed sexual compatibility by data. That wasn't a test, that was my browser. Same difference. We sat together in her quarters, and I tried to be serious. Do you actually like me, or am I just convenient? She stared. You are not physically optimal, but you are stubborn, resourceful, and possess humor. My people value symmetry. You have symmetry. In addition to firm glutes and a promising scent. I blinked. So, I'm a walking compatibility chart, and you make strange sounds during arousal. It pleases me. I covered my face. God, I'm in an alien Tinder profile. She tilted her head. What is Tinder? Never mind. Just, can we maybe slow it down? We must not delay. Royal seed must be sown within 3 rotations. Why? To prevent spiritual leakage. I'm gonna need a damn chart. She stood, walked over, and placed her hand on my chest. If you require stimulation, I can recite our victory chants slowly. That's not how foreplay works. Then teach me. I gulped. Okay. So maybe start by, never mind, you're already untying my robe. We compromised. Sort of. I taught her how to flirt. She tried to mimic my wink and instead looked like she had a seizure. She attempted dirty talk, which translated to things like, I shall crush your loins gently. I appreciated the effort. Still terrifying, but effort. Then came the gift ritual. I was supposed to present something symbolic to prove my bond. I gave her a tiny earth-made necklace I had in my pocket. She stared at it. This is plastic? Yeah. It glows in the dark. She held it like it was sacred. You offer me a radiant talisman of low-mass structure. This is good. Really? It represents your fragile but persistent nature. Cool. Later, while trying to sleep, she climbed into bed beside me and asked, Does Earth require verbal affirmation before coupling? I said, Yes. Very much yes. Then I shall practice. I desire you. Let us engage. I will not dislocate your hips unless requested. I stared at the ceiling. That's the most romantic thing I've heard all day. Then prepare, consort. Tomorrow, we dance the fertility rite. I whispered. Maybe I should have just asked for coffee. From beside me, she replied. Your coffee could never please me as your body does. Thanks. Sleep now. You will need all strength. God help my pelvis. He cannot hear you here. And with that, she spooned me like a steel radiator and began humming a song that sounded like battle drums and moaning wails. Sleep never came. But dread? Dread curled up next to me and kissed my neck. They woke me up with horns. Not metaphorical ones. Real alien horns, blasting a fertility rhythm at dawn while 4 masked attendants dragged me out of bed and threw scented oils at my chest like they were baptizing a sacrificial pig. Veljuna stood already prepped in a sheer ceremonial wrap that did nothing to hide anything and everything. Her hair was braided, her skin shimmered with golden paint, and she looked at me like I was both her prize and prey. The elder priestess held up a scroll and read something in a deep, throaty tone that translated roughly to, Let the human mount the moon and ignite the legacy. I whispered, That better not mean what I think it means. But nobody was listening. Instead, 2 attendants shoved a ceremonial cup into my hands. It fizzed. It glowed. Is this safe? I asked. Veljuna answered. It will increase virility. Possibly hallucinations. Possibly? I drank it. Of course I did. Immediately, everything tingled. Not in a good way. My skin buzzed. My pants felt tighter. One of the elders commented, He rises like the sun. Someone else clapped. I was paraded onto a silk-draped platform surrounded by dozens of watching aliens, all wearing masks that looked suspiciously like my terrified expression. Veljuna stepped up next to me and whispered, Are you ready to spill your strength? I think my strength's already trying to spill out. I muttered. Then came the blessing of the loins, which sounded harmless until they lifted a jug of something smoking and poured it onto my thighs. I yelped. Veljuna didn't flinch. You now carry the fire fusion, the priestess declared. I carried something all right, mostly fear and regret. Next was the symbolic mounting. I didn't like the name, but apparently we had to stand chest to chest while she gripped my hips and lifted me. Yes, lifted me. In front of everyone. I wasn't even mad. I was too stunned. This feels backwards, I said as my feet left the floor. In our culture, the stronger lifts, she replied calmly. You are light but durable. Then the drums began. Slow, heavy beats. And we were told to begin the ritual convergence. That meant exactly what you think. Everyone left the room, except for the musicians. Apparently, the music helps. Helps what? Timing. She grabbed my hand, walked me to a bed that looked like it was made of vibrating moss, and looked me dead in the eyes. If I break you, it is an honorable death. Could you maybe not break me? Like, try a gentle conquest? She considered it. I shall attempt a half-thrust technique. That's still terrifying. Then breathe deeply. We lay down, and before I could process anything, she was already on top, kissing me like her tongue had been trained in warfare. Her hands roamed like they were claiming territory. She whispered things like, Surrender your lineage, and let me devour your manhood with honor. I tried to reply, but all I could manage was a strangled, Yes, ma'am. The moment she lowered herself onto me, instead, destruction. I grabbed her thighs like lifelines and prayed to gods I'd never believed in. As things escalated, so did the dirty talk. I will milk your legacy like a prized beast. You will roar inside me like thunder. I was never going to look at a throne room the same way again. At some point I blacked out. Not sure when. When I woke up, I was still inside her, and she was humming a lullaby while gently squeezing every few seconds, like she was checking my pulse through my groin. You lasted longer than expected, she said, rubbing circles on my chest. Most males collapse before first internal contraction. Was that one? I almost cried. There's more? We must, answered. It will increase virility. Possibly hallucinations. Possibly? I drank it. Of course I did. Immediately, everything tingled. Not in a good way. My skin buzzed. My pants felt tighter. One of the elders commented, "He rises like the sun." Someone else clapped. I was paraded onto a silk-draped platform surrounded by dozens of watching aliens looked suspiciously like my terrified expression. Veljuna stepped up next to me and whispered, "Are you ready to spill your strength?" "I think my strength's already trying to spill out. I'm in first cycle." I whimpered again. The drum stopped. The priestess returned, saw us tangled and drenched, and smiled. "The ritual is complete. The lineage has begun." I coughed. "Can I go home now?" Veljuna licked my ear. "You are home. My consort. My breeder. My prize." I closed my eyes and muttered, "I should have just asked for a raise." I woke up feeling like I'd been trampled by a herd of rhino centaurs, every joint aching, hips sore, and thighs trembling from overuse. My body had betrayed me, giving everything it had, possibly twice. Veljuna lay beside me, arms wrapped around my waist like she was afraid I'd escape. I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't even move. "You survived all 3 cycles," she murmured, her voice low and pleased. "Your body is inefficient but surprisingly resilient." I gave a broken laugh. "I'm glad my suffering impressed you." She stroked my chest with lazy fingers. "You are now royal consort, in full standing. The line has begun. Your pelvis is intact. We consider this a triumph." My pelvis disagrees. Within the hour, servants came in with food, fruits that squirted when bitten and meat that smelled vaguely illegal. One servant bowed deeply and whispered, "Your virility has become legend. The council is drafting a statue." I stared at him. "A statue of what, exactly?" "Of you?" Mid-thrust. "Very inspirational." "That better be a joke." It wasn't. I was dragged out of bed, again, this time into royal regalia, a deep purple sash, an ornamental loincloth, and a chest strap that did nothing to protect anything but made me feel like an overgrown toy. Veljuna adjusted my straps with serious focus. "Your presence is required in the council chamber. Your seed has political implications." "God, I'm just a mechanic." "Now you're a symbol of fertile diplomacy," she replied, pulling me close for a deep kiss that made my legs wobble. "Your role is to inspire confidence. And possibly arousal. Not at the same time, I hope." We walked through the palace, hand in hand, while alien nobles whispered and bowed. Someone tried to present a ceremonial garter to me. Another gifted me a fertility blade. "Is this sharp?" I asked. "It's for display," Veljuna said. "Unless another suitor challenges you. There are more suitors. Only those bold enough to risk decapitation." We reached the throne hall, where 100 beings stood waiting, every eye on me. The high matron stepped forward. "Human. Consort. Earthborn. You have done what no outsider has. You have joined our line, fulfilled our rights, and fertilized a royal legacy. You are hereby declared resource of national desire." That sounds a little objectifying. She waved off my concern. "You will also be honored with diplomatic immunity and a pleasure stipend." "Wait. A what?" Veljuna leaned in. "It's a monthly package. Oils, toys, supplements. You are now expected to maintain peak performance." "For how long?" 7 years. 7? A moment later, I was seated beside Veljuna on a smaller throne, slightly lower than hers. She looked over at me and whispered, "Your scent is stronger today. I find it arousing. I've been sweating fear since breakfast." "Even better." Earth Command finally called me back. The ambassador's voice was shaky. "We've received reports that you've been claimed, mated, possibly enthroned, and are now being referred to as Sea Father of the Crown. Is that accurate? More or less. Do you need rescue? If you send anyone near me, she'll rip their arms off. Veljuna smiled at that. That is correct. The ambassador sighed. We're negotiating the political outcome. Just try not to impregnate anyone else until the alliance terms are finalized. I make no promises. She's very persuasive. Veljuna added. We're planning twins next cycle. I hung up. Later that night, I sat in a steaming bath with her legs wrapped around me like vines. You still think you were joking? She asked. About wanting me? I sighed. Honestly, I was. But now, I don't even know anymore. I think you've grown on me. I hope not literally. That would be dangerous. Not like that. I mean, I like being around you. She tilted her head. Even with the constant mating expectations, ceremonial challenges, and forced political engagement. Weirdly, yeah? She kissed me again, softer this time. Then you are not just consort. You are chosen. Lucky me. A moment passed. She whispered, Would you like to practice round 4? I froze. There's a round 4? Only for exceptional partners. My hips say no. Your body says yes. My soul says send help. She leaned in. You can scream if you must. I groaned, bracing myself as she pulled me closer. Somewhere deep inside, I accepted my fate. I wasn't just some human caught in alien politics. I was Veljuna's consort, possibly her chew toy, definitely her favorite stress reliever. And as she pinned me against the tub wall with a smirk, I thought, I really should have just asked for a sandwich.